Filmmakers and photographers dream of going to places like the Canadian Arctic, and I was lucky enough to go. Recently, I just got back from a trip from Iqaluit, Nunavut, and it was one of the most inspiring places I'd ever been, and in a number of ways. The fact that a culture has endured life in the Arctic for thousands of years is incredible to me and inspiring, let alone the incredible views where you're surrounded by this beautiful, breathtaking ridgeline that borders the Arctic desert. I just remember trying to take it all in while I was out there. We just got into our hotel rooms in Ottawa. We've been on the road all day. It was a 10-hour drive to Ottawa. Right now it's about 8 p.m. Ottawa time, and we left around 7 a.m. our time in New Brunswick, and there's an hour difference, so it's been a long day. You know, we're stoked though. I can't believe I'm going to Iqaluit tomorrow. Get things ready and then relax, go to sleep. So I will check in tomorrow. All right, so 8:02 a.m., May 5th. Bruce and I just got through security. Bruce got wrecked. Made him take apart his entire audio bag. So that was, what were there, an hour?
It was a while.
It was almost an hour. It was close. We had to check 7 bags, I think. That was the total. So I checked 4 and you checked 3?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so 7 bags, ton of bags. But we're going to Iqaluit. I think the plane ride's like 3 hours or something like that. Roughly 3 hours. Flight over there, and then when we get there, I think we're gonna jump right into some stuff, start filming. Yeah, that's the plan. I don't know, I'm freaking out, I'm excited. When you land in the plane, you immediately get a sense of how isolated Iqaluit is from the rest of the world. After we got off the plane, we went into the airport and met up with Matt, Crystal, and Derek, got our luggage, checked into our hotel, and we drove around Iqaluit for a little bit just to get our first impressions and to film a little bit of B-roll. You get a strong impression of Iqaluit being like a lunar base. It's like you're on the moon because the environment is so rugged and rocky and no trees whatsoever and just cold. And so it really does feel like you're on another planet if you've never been there before. And that was kind of one of the first feelings that I was feeling. We got to see some really interesting things. The Hudson Bay Company had an outpost right by the water, and the building that I got to film was, I believe, created in 1670. So that was really fascinating to see.
We're on a hill in Iqaluit, Earth.
Afterwards, we found some children and they were playing hockey, and I went up and I was talking to them, and we filmed them for a little bit doing their thing and playing hockey, and they were asking me questions about where I was from and asking, is it boring? Is it fun? What's it like? Do you have trees? And I was just thinking, a lot of these kids that grow up in Iqaluit, if they haven't left before, they would have never have seen a tree. And I guess that would be a normal thing for them. But to me, like, that was like almost a culture shock in a way. At the end of day 1, we were pretty zonked, but also extremely excited because the next day we were going to film a hunt. Crystal's cousin, Pakak, took us out on one of the most amazing journeys I've ever been on in my life. We were planning to film a hunt with Pakak as our guide, where he would take us out to the Floe Edge, which is where the ocean meets the receding ice in the spring, and they would hunt for seal or geese. And when it was time to leave the house and go out onto the ice, they put us in these wooden boxes that are called chamutiks. And so we climbed into the chamutiks and got ready to go on our trip. And little did I know that this would be the most incredible adventure I had ever been on. It was terrifying and painful, but hilarious, and I laughed the whole way. It was so much fun.
Grip, like, walking, I've done my share. It's over now.
He's got to surrender to the moment. You got no choice.
So Matt and I sat in the back of this chamutik, and we were dragged across the ice by a skidoo. And I trusted Pakak. He seemed like a very experienced guy. Obviously, he grew up in Iqaluit. He knows how to navigate the ice. And so my life was in his hands for an hour and a half across the Arctic Ocean. When we showed up to the Floe Edge, I was just immediately blown away by how beautiful it was. The ocean is spreading larger and larger, and that is where they hunt. They meet the edge of the water and ice, and they park their skidoos, and that's where they wait. They wait for whales, seals, geese that are flying by. There are Arctic foxes and there are Arctic wolves. Very hard to see them, and there are polar bears. We didn't see any of that. I did see some geese, didn't capture it, but I did see them, and we did see seal. But instead of filming the seals, I had to stay on our characters. So my job as a cinematographer for this project was I didn't want to miss a moment. Anytime anything happened that was exciting, I made sure to stay on the person that I was filming, because I didn't want to miss a moment where they would grab their gun, ready it, and make the shot. If I'm panning back and forth trying to find something to shoot, I'm going to miss the moment. And that's like a huge thing in documentary filmmaking, is like, hold your shots, make sure you get your shot. And that was my whole approach with this whole scene at the Floe Edge, was just stay on Pakak and Crystal and the rest of the guys and make sure that they're the priority in the shot. And so we weren't successful at hunting. Nobody caught anything. There was lots of seal sightings. But just the experience of being out there was absolutely breathtaking. I can't believe that I was there. And you're filming it all. And it's just the most special thing to document. And then the next day we prepped for a day of filming in Iqaluit. There was going to be a dinner that night with Crystal's family. And that was equally as amazing as the Floe Edge in a way, because it was this beautiful process of cooking this delicious stew for everybody that Crystal's aunt put together. But also after dinner was done, it was just this incredible conversation about climate change that the family had and that we filmed. And, to be there for that was just so interesting, and it was so eye-opening to the conditions in which the Inuit are living in right now. Because of climate change, they're not able to go as far out onto the ice every year, and that means there's less available hunting grounds. They're seeing changes in animal behavior. There are less and less geese. The wood that they have to build cabins or houses has begun to rot for the first time. Those are serious implications of climate change. The environment is changing rapidly, and that was such a big topic of conversation in this film, arguably the biggest thread throughout it, because there are future generations growing up in places like Iqaluit that aren't going to have the same traditions that their ancestors for millennia have had. These people have hunted seal and whale and the other animals that are in that area for time immemorial. And the fact that that's going to be taken away from them because of climate change someday is truly devastating. And even being able to hand off skills is going to be difficult because a new skill set will be required, and it takes time to develop that, to understand what is happening to the land and to apply, your knowledge to it. And that's a process. And so I'm glad that we went when we did and that we got to see it at least in this condition. And it was absolutely stunning and beautiful. And I truly hope, from the bottom of my heart, that the effects of climate change don't impact this beautiful place and these incredible people too deeply. My philosophy surrounding documentary filmmaking is that I want moments, and in order to get really good moments, I need time and I need access. And by that I mean I need a lot of time with one subject or a couple of subjects, and I need access to their lives. I need to be there for important moments. And so the idea of going on a hunt, riding across the Arctic Ocean surface and going to the Floe Edge, that to me is just an incredible moment. That's kind of where my head is at with filmmaking. I want to create these powerful narratives and meet really, really interesting people and share their perspectives with the world as best as I can. And in terms of YouTube, all I want to do is be able to share what my process is like and show the kind of life that I'm living through filmmaking. Thank you again for being here, and I will see you in the next one.